Hi guys, follow along on the worksheet that I gave you so that you get the answers down. This is background information for when we read Antigone and Oedipus Rex. This is about classical drama, so Greek drama. Classical drama originated in the 6th century BC and developed a rich tradition in ancient Greece and Rome. The Greek tragedies were produced as part of an annual religious festival in Athens. Each year, new plays were presented before the entire populace of the city and an award given to the playwright who presented the best series of 3 dramas. Each playwright would produce 3 tragedies and a satire. Tragedy is a drama that recounts the downfall of a dignified superior character who is involved in historically or socially significant events. A satire is a short comic interlude. It pokes fun at a serious subject. The modern spelling is satire, S-A-T-I-R-E. Guys, satires gave some comic relief to the tragic events that were unfolding. The protagonist is a character in conflict with an opposing character or force, the antagonist. The antagonist is that opposing character or force who is in conflict with the hero or the protagonist. In Greek drama, the protagonist is usually a tragic hero. The tragic hero has a tragic flaw, a defect in the hero that brings about or contributes to his or her downfall. This flaw may be poor judgment, pride, weakness, or an excess of an admirable quality. The tragic hero recognizes his or her flaw and its consequences, but only after it's too late to change the course of events. They're not going to be able to prevent some bad things from happening. Sophocles received the prize often during his long productive life for his plays. The Theban plays that were written by Sophocles were Antigone, Oedipus Rex, Rex means king, so Oedipus the king, and Oedipus at Colonus. Colonus is a city where Oedipus dies. Oedipus was the father of Antigone. Characteristics of the Sophoclean tragedy. Well, it's based on events that already took place and are familiar to the audience. They already know what's going to happen. Why would they go to this play? Well, they don't have all of the things to entertain them like you do. And also, even though you know a story, it's kind of fun to see it portrayed. Like you might read a book and then go see it in the movie theater, or vice versa. Or you might watch a movie that you've already seen because you like it a lot and it's a really good story. So, okay. The protagonist is a person of noble stature. It means they're some sort of royalty or a statesman, like a governor or a senator. The protagonist has a weakness, however, and because of it becomes isolated. Remember, they don't take advice from others and they suffer a downfall. The protagonist's fall is not entirely his or her own fault, however, and the audience may end up feeling bad for him or her. They may pity him or her. The fallen protagonist gains self-knowledge. He has a deeper insight into himself and understands his weakness. Unfortunately, it comes too late to prevent some bad events. The audience, like the protagonist, undergoes catharsis. A catharsis is a purging of emotions. After they experience pity, fear, shock, and other strong feelings, the people go away feeling better. Guys, this is like when you have a really upsetting event and either you react in anger and you throw stuff or you just burst out crying because you're so upset. And then after you've spent some of that energy, you feel a little bit better, a little bit more calm. That's what a catharsis is. The drama usually unfolds in one place in a short period of time, usually about 1 day. So this is a very short play. Guys, pride as a character flaw is very important in a Sophoclean tragedy. Pride was considered a grave sin, a terrible sin, because it placed too much emphasis on the individual will and downplayed the will of the state, okay, guys, the law, and endangers the community as a whole as well. Pride makes people unwilling to accept wise counsel, and because of this, they act rashly and make bad decisions. Great pride is referred to as hubris. Guys, please write this down and remember hubris is great pride, having so much pride that it's almost like you think you're above the law, you're the only one who knows what's right. It's a terrible thing, and oftentimes in modern conversation comes up when we talk about politicians who have gotten to think that they are above the law and have great pride that they're the only ones that have the right answer and don't listen to anybody else. The plays were put on beneath the bright skies of Greece in huge outdoor amphitheaters, somewhat like modern football stadiums, cut in half. This is what they looked like. As the audience would sit here, this was the amphitheater built into the hillside. There was a circular area down here called the orchestra, where some of the actors might perform, or the chorus would perform in between acts. The stage was raised so that people could see the actors better, and behind them were these pillars that served, it was called a skein, and we believe that this served as a backdrop, kind of like the walls of the city palace or a community courtyard area where people would gather for information. Up to as many as 40,000 people could sit in this hillside area. That's a lot. The stage was a slightly raised platform in the open area on the ground so that actors could be seen more easily. And that long building behind the stage was called a skein. It served as a backdrop, and also behind it could serve as a dressing room for the actors. Okay, so we believe that this represented a palace or the walls of a city where people would gather for information and to share news. That middle part, there was a circular floor, which was called an orchestra. Again, people were sitting in these rows on the hillside, and the orchestra was in between them and the platform where the stage was, and the skein was behind that. This orchestra is often where the chorus would perform, and in today's stages, we often have an orchestra pit where the orchestra performs. They create music, so this is where it came from. Now, in a Sophoclean tragedy, all of the actors were men. They wore masks, which might have contained megaphones to send their voices through the vast theater. They had to project their voices. If you've ever cupped your hands around your mouth, you know that it changes the volume of your voice. So we believe that they had megaphones in those large masks. They would wear elegant robes, huge masks, and elevated shoes like platform shoes, which added to the grandeur and allowed them to be seen. Sophocles would use 3 actors in his plays, and between scenes they would change costumes and masks when they needed to portray different characters. Because the actors wore masks, the play depended more on the words the actors spoke than facial expressions or small gestures. The actors' movements had to be broad and bold. This kind of theater has little relation to the realistic style of drama we expect today. They made big movements and had to speak very loudly, and we couldn't see their faces. One aspect of Greek theater which often confuses modern readers is the chorus. We still find the chorus in our musical comedies, but it's rare in serious plays and films. The Greek chorus was a group of actors who moved and sang together as one character. Actually, the plays themselves developed from a kind of community sing, when bit by bit a chorus grew up that told stories and sang in verse. So they would move as one character. The role of the chorus was to explain the action. They would interpret the action in relation to the law of the state and the law of the Olympian gods. So what were the state's laws and the laws of the gods? They would also foreshadow the future. And they would serve as an actor in the play. They would also sing or dance in between the acts to provide a little relief between the different performances. Guys, to this was added an actor who carried on a dialogue with the chorus. Then a second actor was added and a third. With each additional actor, the chorus shrank in size and importance. Between scenes, the chorus sang and danced to musical accompaniment in the orchestra and gave insights to the message of the play. The chorus is often considered a kind of ideal spectator, representing the response of ordinary citizens to the tragic events unfolding in the play. The chorus could also set the mood of the story. Sometimes the chorus sided with one or another character in the play. You'll see this in Antigone. Sometimes it warned a character of impending disaster. Often the chorus, with its folk truths and common sense, created a contrast with the loftier passions and thoughts of the hero. The chorus did not mouth directly the ideas of the author. It's a little bit like today's background music, narrator, or text that identifies time and place. The chorus gives us these things. All right, on your own time, you can watch some of these examples. Conventions, standard ways of presenting action. The Greek tragedy usually followed conventions requiring unity of time, place, and action. A play took place within a single day at the palace or in the square of the city. Unity of action meant that the writer concentrated on one storyline at a time. There's no subplots or diversions. Greeks felt physical horror was so repulsive to see that it ruined the artistic effects of the dramas. Therefore, all violent actions took place off stage. They were reported to the audience by messengers. The Greek tragic dramatists seldom invented original stories or epics of their people. Sophocles' audience knew the outcome of the story before arriving at the theater. The playwrights concentrated on character portrayal, on ideas, and on poetry of language. The center of the story was the emotions of the characters. Catharsis, a purification of emotions. Drama, a literary work with dialogue written in verse and spoken by actors playing characters experiencing conflict and tension. In Greek drama, a play derives its plot from stories, from history, or mythology. Dramatic irony, failure of a character to see or understand what is obvious to the audience. Oedipus, for example, was unaware early on of what the audience knew, that he was married to his own mother, Jocasta. Guys, the audience knows ahead of time. They know something that the character does not know. That's called dramatic irony. Dionysius is the patron god of Greek drama, the god of wine and vegetation. He was a son of Zeus and one of the most important of the Greek gods. Dionysius died each winter and was reborn each spring, symbolizing renewal and rejuvenation. Festivals of Greek drama were held in his name. Hubris, great pride. Hubris often is the character flaw in Greek drama. Ode, a poem sung in a play or festival. Prologue is the introduction of a play that provides background material. A satire we already talked about. Words to know. You need to know Thebes is a city in ancient Greece. It's northwest of Athens. The Oracle of Delphi is a shrine in Delphi where people would consult with a priest or priestess of the god or goddess. The Sphinx. In Greek mythology, the Sphinx had the head of a woman, the body of a lion, teeth and wings and claws like an eagle, and killed anyone who could not answer her riddle. Her riddle was, what walks on